Talking about appropriate units of measurement, remember that we're using metric units. So if I take a look at my ruler here, and if I'm looking at this, if I'm going to use something for appropriate units of measurement, we have millimeters, those small ones. The centimeter is from 0 to 1. There's 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, and so on and so forth. And then we have this really long meter, and then we have a kilometer, which is even bigger. So if I were going to measure the width of this marker, the tip of that marker, see how thick it is. Now we're thinking about it, which would be the most appropriate unit of measurement? Would I use a kilometer? Probably not. So if I look at this and I were going to measure that, I'm probably going to use the smallest unit of measurement, which is the millimeter, to measure that tip of that marker. Okay, same thing. If I were going to measure the length of this glue stick, am I going to use a meter? Probably not. I'm going to use something a bit smaller. I'm probably going to use that centimeter. I could use millimeters, but centimeters would probably be the most appropriate. And if I were going to measure the width of this table, now this metric ruler could probably do the job. However, the best tool to use would be this meter stick. So the most appropriate unit of measurement here would be the meter. Now, if I were going to walk from here to Kings Island, how would I find that distance? I'm probably going to want to use that kilometer to find the distance. So if I take a look right here in measuring something simple, like this line, I'm going to show you exactly how we need to do it. And I'm going to ask you, how long is this in centimeters and how long is it in millimeters? So if I were to take this up and line it up right there for that green line, would that be appropriate? The answer is no, because the 0 needs to be at the very end of that line. That's where we need to start, not at the end of the ruler. We need to start at 0. And then we're going to measure all the way until we get to this point. So we have 18, and then we have 1, 2 little tick marks. So how would I write that is the question. Well, how long is it in centimeters? So if I look at it, it's 18 centimeters and 2 millimeters. Well, how would I write that? It would be 18 centimeters, 0.2 millimeters. So this would be in centimeters. Now, how would I write that in millimeters? Well, it's actually quite simple. You can just multiply this by 10, knowing that there are 10 millimeters for every centimeter, because right here would be 10, and right here would then be 20, then 30, and so on and so forth, all the way to 180. But don't forget the 0.2. Well, what does that mean? It's just 2 more millimeters. So 182 millimeters is the length of that green line. So when you do your practice, you need to really pay attention to these rulers. Because look, this doesn't start at 0, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean it's not there. It's saying that whatever was here was so long that it got to this point. Okay? So it's starting at 10. So we're looking at 10. And then probably the best option would be to draw a line to kind of match it up. Okay? So we have 10, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 10.5 centimeters. And we want to make sure that you measure all of these rulers in centimeters. So try the next one, make that go down, and then measure it out. How many centimeters are in this ruler? Remember that this is kind of like a break in the ruler, and the ruler is really over here, but we're just kind of acting like it's not at this moment. Okay? So make sure you start at the right point and measure on.